Hi, guys. My name is Helen Matos, and I am here with APEX, the International Association of the Existential Program. And it's really great to be here again with you guys. We had several lives last year, and then now we are here again with the same topic. This is awesome. So, before we start, I was going to ask you guys not to believe in anything we say here, okay? It's our principle of disbelief. So, we all recommend that you have your own experiences, that you research the topics and the subject, that you go after the information you need. You can also visit our site www.proexology.org or .com, either way. But it's just such a pleasure to be here with you guys. And as I said before, I am a volunteer and I am a teacher at Apex, and we are going to be talking about from the existential emptiness to the existential program today. So let's have our teachers here with us. I'd like to ask Gabriela Diaz to join us.
Hey guys, welcome everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Gabriela. I'm from Foz do Iguaçu, Brazil, and I am from the contentsiology since 2018. I am a psychologist, and I hope you enjoy our chat today with us.
Hi, Gabriela. It's great to be here with you.
Thank you.
Now, Marcelo Pires.
Hello, hello everybody. Good to be here again, and welcome to this new edition of chat about existential program. I'm talking here directly from United States, so it's really a pleasure to be here. And then let's make it interactive and discuss these topics and make it as informal as possible.
Yeah, I actually failed to say I'm in the United States also. I'm in Tennessee. So, since we're here to speak a little bit about the trajectory, the journey of going from the existential emptiness to existential program, I would like to ask you guys if you would like to say a little bit about, talk about a little bit about the existential emptiness and
So,
how can we transform this feeling?
with pleasure, Helen. Uh, well, I think that everybody here had that sensation, that feeling of kind of a blue that you have in in the past. I used to have it a lot during my Sundays, my weekends, and the moment that you stop and you are not doing something, not keeping your mind busy, okay? So you're not working, not studying, and then you have that moment that you stop to think about, and then you think that something is missing, okay? So this is natural. We feel it from time to time, but there is a condition that's could get a little bit more serious. That's this condition of existential emptiness. That's an inability to know what you feel and what you want. Okay, and you don't know how to think and to plan the future, and then you start to have some lack of goals, absence of the meaning in life. So this is really serious when we start to having it, and then well, you can start to look like inability to know how you feel and what you want. So you start to don't know exactly what will be fulfilling for your life, and then you don't know how to plan the future, and then of course you don't know what will be your goals, and the things start to lose a little bit the sense, and then this is really a paradox if you think about that, because humanity never had so many resources, goods, service available to us in the history. And even in this situation, we got to a position that a lot of people have no expectations or sense of each direction they're going to take their lives. Okay, so it's really, I think that's important for the people to know. Okay, when I'm going and when I am in this kind of uh, sense of missing something, how I go to a more fruitful direction, how I go to a position that I start to understand better what I have in my life. And I think that that's the idea, to understand and to study and to look for what's missing. Because I'm not sure, Gabriela, Helen, you had this existential emptiness feeling in your lives too?
I can speak a little about it. I think this feeling of existential emptiness, it can start when we start, like you said, Marcelo, thinking about what is missing, right? Because we start question ourselves, answer ourselves about life is just to work, to have a family, to build some career, professional career, and to travel and to go to parties. Life is just it. And we start thinking, what is missing? Because it seems like we are doing all the stuff that we learned in our growing when we are growing. So I had this feeling when I was the first time when I was 9 years old. I started asking my dad about what is God, where is God, because we have the universe, we have all the planets, we have a lot of things we don't know. So how can we say that what exists is just what is in here in our planet? So I start asking that. Uh, um, how can I say? What is life? Why do we exist? Why are we here? What we can do in this life to meaning something, you know, to leave some legacy to this world. I think sometimes this existential emptiness can manifest in this way. I think some people can feel the same thing.
Yeah, well, all of the above. Yes, and I went through this twice. It took me a while to learn, but what I think about when I think about existential emptiness, I feel like it's when um, you are not actually locating in yourself in what you are supposed to be doing. In You have that feeling of being an outsider. So you are living here with all the human beings, all the creatures in on this planet, but you are an outsider. You feel like you should be doing something and you're not. So when I meant that did it twice is because I found my purpose, and we are going to talk about it in a little while. But I found my purpose, and then I deviated, and then I felt the existential emptiness again. So since I've already mentioned the purpose, I think we should tell our viewers a little bit about the purpose of life. What is the purpose of life?
Purpose of life can be uh, seen. We can saw it. We can think about it in many ways, right? To the Japanese culture, to the French culture, to any culture, different culture, we have some thoughts about the purpose of life. And in the consensuology, we think about it in a different way, a new way. We call it existential program. You know, what it is. What is it? Existential program is a programmation, a planning you do about your next life you're gonna have when you reborn. It's right, reborn,
Mhm.
and you do this planning, this program to do the things right with your past. You know, to help the world to evolve, to help the people that are with you to grow, to get better, and the mythology, the place they are. So it's a new way, a different way, but not really really new. Some people in the past already thought about it, but never wrote, never got this along. Teacher Marcelo would like to compliment this.
Y-
This.
Yeah, I would like to compliment, and then that's important for the people that watched us last year. They know that we do these studies under the consensual paradigm, and then I think that it's good to complete it because it links better with the idea of the existential program and some of the activities that it happens before we reborn. Because the consensual paradigm, it considers some pillars. That one of the pillars is the multidimensionality. There are several different dimensions. Okay, we have this physical dimension, you have extra physical dimensions in different levels. So we have also multiple bodies of manifestation. Okay, so for each dimension, we have a proper body of manifestation that you use. Like here, I have my physical body that we are seeing here through the video. So on the for the energetic interactions, I have like the energetic body. I have the psychosoma for the extra physical dimension up to the mental soma. And then considering that we have these bodies, we start to realize that, well, when I die, I only deactivate this body, so I continue to exist. So there are several different lives. And then that's the point that I want to make the connection with Gabrielle is saying that, well, we have this life here. That's one mission. We had our previous lives that we did some things good, some things not so good. And then between these two lives, you have a period that we are in the extra physical or spiritual world or whatever you use it to call it. And then while we are there, that is when the consciousness, the person get a minimal level of lucidity, we have the opportunity to start planning and do this planning that Gabrielle is mentioned about the next slide, to start planning your existential program. And then we have what you call it the intermissive course. Intermissive because it's between two missions, two existence. And then there is a course where you can start preparing it. And then as you start preparing it, this course, you go through a set of disciplines to touch that extra physical consciousness, that consciousness that in this extra physical world that already reached a minimal evolutionary level, how you can technically plan your next life to accelerate the evolution. And then I think that it's something that it's uh, critical, okay? And then if you had this kind of pre-planning before coming to this existence, and you are not following what you originally planned, that's one of the reasons, at least for me, that I start to feel that existential emptiness. Because imagine the following: you are promising to a friend that you are going to help him to help on the move to a new house. And then you say, okay, I'm going there, I'm going to carry some boxes and so on, and you're going to help everybody to move to your next house. And then suddenly you forget about it, and then you don't go, and then you have that feeling like well, I'm missing something here. What did I miss? But instead of thinking about, instead of being something like helping a friend, being something even bigger, that it's something that it's your self-development, things that you need to do it to improve yourself as a person, and also to connect and make amends with people that you have around yourself. Imagine that you forget to do that, and then the kind of feeling that, oh, something is missing here, or being sad about yourself, well, goes beyond.
I like that analogy. I love it. Yeah. Well, in English, we are very used to the term purpose in life, right? Life purpose. So, what we would like to actually share here today is that the purpose of life is exactly this, is in a consciential approach, a transcendental approach. We have a program, or we have a planning that we made before we were born in this life, and when we are not actually fulfilling this, that's when we feel the existential emptiness. And thus, the title, From Existential Emptiness to the Existential Program. The only way that we can actually realign and eliminate that feeling is when we are actually fulfilling that planning that we made before we were born. And that brings me to something that we talked about before, and then we actually separated here, put aside here this page from one of the books published in the past by Dr. Waldo Vieira, and the name is the 700, it's a treaty actually, and it's 700 experiments. And in this treaty, we have tests, we have experiments, several indications on how to know ourselves better, how to learn more about our own existential program. But the page, the part that we have separated here, is exactly about the intermissive course, because there is a way for us to actually find out if we did it, if we actually were part of an intermissive course, if we were students or even teachers. I don't know. But I'm going to read this little passage here in the book, and then we can talk a little bit about it. And there are 10 characteristics that are manifested in those who may have participated in the intermissive course. And some of the test questions to our, we're going to bring these here to our discussion. And one of them is one of the self-awareness, certainty of having a sense of immortality, the consciousness of eternal life within you, in your personal essence. So one of the indications that we bring to this life, and Gabriela actually even said something about it, that she went through this. She was trying to find her own identity within this group where she was. And when you have that certainty inside of yourself that you are not alone, that you are immortal, this physical body is not all that we are, right?
Right. I'm going to start this one and then pass to Gabriela. Uh, I mentioned it already when I was talking about the pillars, that
Mm-hmm.
when we die, we call it in consensuology the soma, the activation of the soma. It's just the body that we are leaving behind. So we have all the bodies of manifestation that we keep going. And this is it's really important. And I'm going to get one experience that I had because I was raised in a very religious family, Catholic family, and then with that idea that there is only one life, and then you think that okay, we would be like relaxed with this kind of idea, and then that kind of idea gave me like a fear, some kind of really scared about the situation. I have only one life to do it all right, or if I do a mistake, I'm going to the eternal damnation. So it didn't make a lot of sense to me, and then was with really deep discomfort for uncomfortable for a long time until before knowing consensuology, a more kind of mystical book, I found the concept of the multiple lives. And then when I read that, it was, you know, it makes much more sense. And then it starts to fit and to get harmony with the some of my ideas. And then this sense of immortality, I kept on going with the idea, and then that's something that you really start to get a more proper base on it. It's when you start to practice the out of body experience that you call it in consensuology lucid projection. Um, remember that what Alan told you in the beginning. Don't believe in anything that we say here. Have your own experiences. So if I'm talking about out of body experience as one of the key way to start to understand and to get face to face with the pillars of the consensual paradigm, well, you need to go through the books and research that teach how you can do the experiment yourself. Well, some of us already had it, some not, but you always can use techniques to get to that point. And then the lucid projection, that's really, it was important for me to realize that okay, that's not only a concept that I read in a book, but the immortality, it is something that takes place because that's the moment that I go out and I meet with persons that are not living anymore, like they are extra physical consciousness right now, they are not living anymore, so they passed away, but they are still there, they still exist, and then you can meet and interact with them when you're doing the lucid projections.
Yeah, I have the same, a really similar experience with Marcelo about the religion, and I kept asking myself when I was there in the religion in the church. I was when I went there in my youth, that that didn't make sense to me about the, well, this is just it, is this it, right, about this life and then our heaven or hell, and what about, I didn't understand why um, things were that way. But I have some innate ideas. I don't know if this is the right word, innate. And when I met consensuology in 2018, it was in the carnival in Brazil. I went to the first day in this course, and I heard the teachers speaking and talking about the past lives we had, the evolutionary thing about ourselves, the consciousness, right? And I thought, oh my gosh, this is what I always thought. This is what I always thought inside of me. I think this makes all sense. I didn't have questions, like I had in the other um, thoughts they taught me. So I think this that this fala, this, how to say, this that Marcelo spoke, um, is what it is. you know, this is it. And some people can have this feeling too about being in a church or another philosophies and don't agree with them. Things just don't fit, like quebra-cabeça,
A
like
puzzle,
a puzzle.
jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah, like a puzzle. So in this philosophy of the consensualness paradigm, things just fit. I don't know how to explain this better.
Perfect. I understood every word. So
Okay.
listen, I wasn't religious in this life, and so my background is a little bit different from yours, but I had some recollections and some hints about previous lives where I was religious. So, and that gave me the perspective that my soul, my consciousness is immortal. And that was an indication that I had this certainty inside, this inner innate certainty that you guys are talking about. Because how can I remember past lives and past lives where I was so different? I had different beliefs from now if there is only this body. The scientific approach that we have nowadays determines that we don't have a soul, that we don't have another dimensions where we can actually interact with people that are not in this dimension anymore. And the religious approach nowadays, they some of them don't accept this multi-existentiality or past lives. So I was like, okay, but how come I remember? It's so obvious to me, you know? So that's how I started to research a little bit more about what Marcelo was saying about lucid projections or out of body experiences, because I knew that intuitively inside, I knew that I had to find the means to prove to myself that it exists, and that's what it did. So I started studying and I started having my own experiences out of my body, outside my body. And that's how I started to prove to myself and find a different approach to the scientific methods, right? So I was trying to move away, to get away from the religious approach, but also from this stagnated, this stuck scientific approach that we have right now. And that's what this all came from, that inner need that I had to find my purpose. So I was always the type of person that I knew that I had something to do that I wasn't doing yet. I had that feeling, and it made me like uncomfortable because I couldn't pinpoint what it was. What am I here to do? I knew for a fact that I had something important to do. Did you guys go through that?
Yeah, a lot, so much. I I thought about it, like I said before, a lot of times since I was 9 or even less, and the existential emptiness, when I have that crisis about these questions of what life is about, um, it's because of this feeling, that I had something to do in this life. So it was interesting when I started to have some experiences of precognition. It's this way to say precognition.
Yes.
And I started to dream about things that happened before. in the future. I have a dream. I had a dream in 2016 about SEAEC, that is the campus in Foz do Iguaçu of consensuology. I thought I dreamed I was into the campus. I didn't know what was that, what was this place. I just then before I wake up, I draw that dream, that view, and I gave it away. I let that draw in my shelf, right? And never thought about it that again. So I continue to have that crisis about what I had to do with my life. I had to choose some college to do. Then I chose psychology, but I'm not sure that was it, just it. Then in 2018, I have this first experience. I met that place. So I was, wow. Nah. I was like, what it is? What is it? What kind of experience is it? I'm not, now I dream of the future. And before that experience, after that experience, I have I had new dreams about things that happened again and again and again, and it
Oh,
was a little confirmation to me, to that I was in the right way of my life, that I have found the uh, existential program finally.
oh. So, Gabriela, one thing, you're dreaming about things that it not happened yet. That's right. Things that came in the future.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
so it's very nice here. We talked already about lucid projection. Ellen talked about retrocognition, and Gabrielle is just talking about precognition. So
We complement each other. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
but
Oh
it,
my
it's
gosh.
it's a very interesting experience. I would say that in my case, I had from when I was still a teenager, I had a deep wish to go out of Brazil. So that I needed to do, that I need to study, that I need to work out of Brazil. And this is was very interesting that I ended up studying and making my career initially in Brazil. And then I moved out of the country, not to the place where I was supposed to go, but sometime later I had the opportunity and I came here to United States. So it, I'm quite sure I have that awareness, that certainty that it's connected with my proex. And then I had also a lucid projection that we were discussing about United States. That's a pity that my memory, my recollection of my memories when I am on the extra physical, not everything comes with me. But yeah, it was discussed something about United States. That moment I was not sure if it would be in this life or the next life, but it became like this life right now.
That's awesome. I don't know if it from the beginning I had planned to come to the States, but I'm here now, so why not? But I know that I have a familiarity here. It's very familiar. I've recognized some areas here and some people from past lives as well. So we have a great question, guys, from
Okay.
André.
Hi, Andrea.
Thank you for being here, André, and everybody else. It's so nice to see you guys here. So, his question: the Pixar Soul movie film talks about the value of having a purpose in life and at the same time the importance of human life as an evolutionary opportunity. Do you see parallels with the life theme?
Well, how can we answer this question without giving spoilers? Yes, it's all connected. And Gabriela, you were talking about this movie yesterday
Yeah.
during the course. It came. Yesterday we did the existential program in Portuguese. Gabriela was one of the teachers, and it was one of the movies that people bring as an example of existential program.
Yeah, that's right. This movie is really, really explaining explanation. I don't know about what we are saying here today. The paradigm of the contentionology is really seems a lot with the movie. What the movie tells us, you know, the place they are in the movie, they are learning what, planning what they gonna do in here when they born again, and that they have to reborn again to they can evolve
Evolve.
evolve
Evolve.
evolve. So yeah, that's a lot similar, and I think that to the ones that were interested in our theme live, you can all watch this movie. It's a really good recommendation. Thanks, Andre. And I don't know, you guys have something to say about it?
Yeah. I think there is, it makes total sense, human life, this dimension here, where this is our second chance, or we have several second chances every time we are reborn to right our wrongs. Once we are in the extra physical dimensions after we die, and or we deactivate our physical body, um, we uh, we are more aware. We have more, what we could say, hyper. How do you say that, Marcelo? Hyper acuity. Is that
Acuity.
right?
I think that it is.
Yeah.
I think it is.
If I am miss if I am missing here the right pronunciation, you guys forgive me. But we are more lucid, and therefore our own energy is more subtle, so it's very hard for us to actually get a hold of some of our traits that are not very positive, that are not very the ones that we really could use in order to evolve. So when we are reborn, we can use this dimension here to actually get a hold of those traits and to express them and learn from them. So it's literally learning from our mistakes, literally.
Yeah.
So I see a total connection with what we are saying here. So we are reborn with a purpose, which is always, in this case, in with this approach of conscientiology, is always connected with assistance. We are here to assist others and also to learn to be assisted, to be helped. And when we can actually mix these two things, do both things, assist or help others, and let them help us, that's when we actually learn from all those mistakes that we have made and we continue making. We are just trying to make lesser mistakes. That's right to
Yeah.
say. I don't
Yeah.
know.
And
That's
Helen,
you can say,
yeah,
Marcelo.
I just want to mention something. Helen, she's talking about our misses, and also we have our
Yes,
hits. Okay,
yes.
so you just remind me about one course that we have in Apex that we offer every time that we have Carnival in Brazil. So in Brazil, that's a holiday there, this period of time. So that's the moment that they offer this course. That's the existential balance. So this is really an interesting course because that's a technique that you stop and you start to look about what you did wrong, but also what you did right. What are your strong traits or qualities? What are your weak traits or opportunities to things that you need to develop? And then during these 3 days that you do the existential balance, and then interesting because now used to be an in-person course, and since the pandemic, we start doing it online, and that is simultaneous translate interpretation to English. So that's an opportunity if you want also to check about your balance, how you're doing each life, because you're not going to do everything that we need to do in just one life. And then there is an activity or do the right prioritization about what are the traits that I'm going to improve this life, what are the demands that I'm going to do in this life, what are the books that I can write, articles that I can write in this life about that I can help the people to get more lucid and more ethical and so on.
Yeah.
So, so then just want to make this invitation because you just remind me about another great course that we have in Apex.
It's a really good course. I recommend it to everybody. I was thinking about the movie, so they it has a message really important. You know that the existential program, the purpose of life, is not something to suffer. You know, to so difficult that you are gonna be sad or angry about. No, it's something good. It's something you're gonna enjoy. You're gonna improve it all. Yeah. So it's a really different aspect of what we learn in the religions or other philosophies. And when we start thinking about it, we realize that when I do something that means a lot to me, I'm happy. So when I start find what I came here to do in this life, I started to get more happier. I started to get more, uh, to get well in all of my life areas. Areas, I don't know. But I think this message is something important we could say to everybody that is listening to us today.
Yeah. Making the distinction, though, between, because this joy, this feeling good about what you're doing, it we have to make the distinction on when we are doing something that has nothing to do with that purpose. Oh, my dog again, look. She is evolving for sure.
She's liking your life.
Yeah. She always says something. All right, calm down. Okay, Marcelo, you go. I'm gonna talk to her here.
uh, so, okay, you talked about hyper acuity. Other thing that we can talk, it's about prioritization. Okay, how can we do the right prioritization to make a useful time on our current existence? Okay, how we can work in a way to seek discernment, more knowledge, and I think that most important part, it's about self-knowledge. So it, it's a matter, Ria, because the time is limit. So when the time is limit, I I'm going to have one situation that I need to make some choices. Like I may love, for example, to play football, but
Yeah.
maybe I can use my time instead of being like a goalkeeper on football with the friends and reading some books. Okay, so I want to see some movies, but I'm not going to be able to see all the movies that I can see. So this life, it's a matter of choices all the time. And every time that you make a choice, we are going through one path, and then there is a moment that you stop doing another path. So consider this limit, I would call it economics of evolution, okay, because we have limited time, limited resources, and we need to get the best from it to our own evolution. So uh, self-knowledge, it's really key, because if I understand myself, I can uh, know the mechanisms, how do my mind work, do my consciousness work, and with that, I can interact better with the people that I have around me, and then I can understand, for example, if I'm at the work and I got a little upset with a work colleague, okay, so what it was that triggered that kind of thoughts or sentiments on my mind. And as you understand that, you understand what are the triggers, you can work on how we will do it better. So as a intermissivist, as we say, uh, the self-knowledge, that's really critical. And then that's about this prioritization that we need to do.
This is awesome that you and thank you, because that's exactly where I was going when when my little friend here started interrupting me. But there it goes along with this question from Marcio Mark. How can one understand the difference between being inside the pro-axis and working on something positive, but sidetracking parallel to the real pro-axis? That's exactly the prioritization that you were talking about.
Yes, and then that's all about evolution. Okay, your evolution, how can you help the others to evolve? Because you can make several different activities that help the others and they will be positive. For example, we may work as volunteers and offering soup for the people that need food, and this is important. But you need to have that inner feeling and keeping evaluate yourself about if I'm doing that, that's the same thing that I did in several lives, or if I need to do something else. If I need to do, for example, instead of providing soup to the people, maybe I need to work on helping the people to know new crafts on how can they can do their living without needing support. So
Yeah, that's
that's one positive way. That's what you call it between that is what you call it in consensuology, consolation task. That's when you
mhm.
do it. That thing that it's easy, everybody likes it, but the people you stay on the same level, or what you call the clarification task or clarity task, that you do an activity that sometimes people not like it because you're going to
Yeah,
tell no for several people, uh, but we need to do it. We need to help that group to go from that level to the next level. And I, my perception is that when you're doing something that it is nice, as you say, Mark, and then you are not doing exactly what it's your existential program or ProX, you're still going to have that feeling that something is missing when you stop Sunday afternoon or Saturday night or any day during the night when you're doing nothing. Because I can tell you, I had this feeling, Okay, I had this feeling of going to a group that would help people with consolation task. And whenever I was not with the group doing the activity, I would have the same feeling as if I was doing nothing. And then when I started my way to work on my self-development, working with these techniques and working with giving classes on consensuology that I love, oh, that feeling, it went away. So this, that is one thing that's important. That's a metric. It's about, okay, your inner compass. How do you feel? Do you feel that you're going the right way or not? Because we are not going to tell you that you need to go in this direction, that direction. We are going to provide tools, techniques, methods that you can, information that you can use to evaluate your own case and see what makes sense for you.
Like that saying, right, Marcelo, when you were talking about the consolation task, there is a saying, you can give someone food or the fish, right? So they will eat that day, or you can teach them how to fish. And then they will be able to actually provide for themselves from then on. So and I I had this feeling that he was also referring to some aspects of having fun or doing fun things and getting that feeling of joy that's temporary. And when in reality, when we are actually fulfilling our existential program, we have a more fulfilling, uh, we have that joy that we can have when we are doing fun things, but it's not temporary. It's something that will take, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
perfect.
okay.
And then what I would say is that I understand a little bit different. Like you're doing something positive, not having fun, uh, but it's if you are going just to have the pleasure, the fun.
Yes,
That's that.
pleasure.
That's what we would call a proex trap. Okay,
Yeah.
that's one activity that you deviate you from what you originally planned. And then depending on what kind of activities you're doing, you may having so much pleasure, but you're you're not going to evolve really. You're not going to the next level. And then there will come a moment that is the same uh, melancholy that you may have, this blues that you may have when you stop and when you're doing the like the consolation task instead of the clarity task, if you are not supposed to do the consolation task, if you are doing something like just going out with the friends and having fun and the drinks and so on, this kind of melancholy you'll be even higher. You'll be
Mhm.
more intense when you stop it. And I had it in my past. I had my
Yes.
moments that I went out with good friends that I still have contact with them. Uh, But the next day, or sometimes even during the night, I was, what am I doing here? You know, that kind of feeling.
It doesn't mean that we don't go out with friends, right, guys?
Yeah,
No, it's not what he's saying. He's
I,
saying
I,
that
I
when you focus on that only, that's what makes us feel that emptiness, that melancholy feeling, right?
hey, if you want to go out for a pizza, don't think twice. Just
Yeah.
invite me. I'm going to be there, okay? But it's you'll not be eating pizzas and every day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have something to say about it. I think that we can go out with friends, like Alan said, but there's a really important thing to say about it, to think about it, that is the kind of go out. I don't know how to say it better, but what are the places I'm going to, that I'm frequentando?
I'm
that
attending.
yeah. So, for example, right, I was invited to a lot of parties that are with a lot of people drinking, and uh, I just didn't feel it was good for me, and energetically speaking, you know. When I went to these parties when I was 20 years or 18 years or less, I didn't feel good. I just was feeling that I didn't want to be there.
You are a great
So,
exception, Gabi.
Yeah.
so for example,
So,
things I like to do, get with friends, you know, and talk and eat something and go to places that are with a good energy. I don't know how people can feel that, but I think everybody feels that, even they don't realize it, you know.
I would say that some people learns faster than others, Ellen.
Right? I know. Oh my gosh. I'm learning from you, girl. Oh, I
Oh,
I better. Okay, there is a great question here that I think is the perfect way for us to finish our live. And I was going to ask you guys to answer. It's a two-part question. Pietra says, amazing live. Thank you for bringing this topic to us. Can you give us hints to find our purpose of life? And then she finishes saying, the course on April 9, can it help us to discover our existential program?
Well, that's what I would call it a question that answers another question. Okay. The course that we are going to have next Saturday, yes, can help to understand. We are going to go as part of the program. We are going to cover some techniques that help us to evaluate and to identify our existential program or ProX. And I invite everybody to come next Saturday. You'll be great. We three we are going to be there interacting with the students, and we are going to cover, I think that it's 4 different techniques, if I remember well, that we are bringing to this course that helps on understand, okay, am I heading in the right direction or not? Or and then something important to know, to understand your existential program, that's a process. So as you do one activity, you start to see a little bit beyond. As one great teacher that we have in Apex, teacher Lionel Losh says, sometimes to understand and to know your prox is just like driving in a fog conditions. You go slow, you take a look of where the road it is, okay, which directions you have, the corners and so on, and then you take one step at each time. And these techniques, they help us to do the first step. Gabriela, Helen, anything you would like to add?
I would like just to thank you all to be here today. We will be waiting for you in the course, and I hope you all enjoy it.
Well, I agree with you, Marcelo, 100%. The hints that you it's a process. You gradually get these hints. Of course, as you look for more knowledge about the subject, about the existential program itself, as you find these activities, they will actually give you the hints. And that's what's happening to me. Okay. I'm fine. The more I learn about it, the more I get these hints, these indications, these information about my own proexis, my own existential program. But what I know is that you have that inner feeling of fulfillment when you're doing it. You know you are on the right track. So if you haven't felt this way yet, start looking for it.
Yeah, and I would like also to thank you everybody to be with us today. I can't believe that 1 hour is gone. Okay, so it was
Yes,
a
I know.
pleasure to be here.
So fast.
For me too. Thank you all. It was a pleasure being here. And as I said before, I'm going to say it again. We have to do it more often. All
We need
right,
to.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.